Scared of heights? Okay. We do have our public open stream today, so. Get that link out. All right. All right, so we got about 4 minutes. I know we're starting a little late. Let me get the screen share and Discord going. All right, now we're good. But what we will see is, stuff we've already known to be true, still true. And it's very important to look at the semis here. They've been going up for 3 weeks now. Every week, reconfirming adds more evidence to the fact it's going up. So it's not like it's less evidence, like as it goes up, it's more bearish. No, it is more bullish. So you're going to see they are gapping up, and that shouldn't be a surprise. They've been buying that every day for the past 3 weeks. 3 weeks. So across the board, we will see them opening higher. We do see Intel gapping into the all-time highs target, which, if you recall, earlier in the month, when those started kicking into the month, what did we say? We're like, well, look up and left. Where's it going? Right? It's going to go way up there. So you don't always have to be the first one in. Like, Intel, it was one of the bigger movers. If you look here, this was the Monday that it closed out. And in the weekend vid, we saw that monthly signal, which lasts, it still has another 7 days on it, right? So you had no reason to believe that wasn't going up there. And that's pretty cool stuff. Now, across the board, though, we're going to see, most semis gapping up. So TSM's gapping up as well. And if you look at the daily here, gapping up. If we go to Nvidia, right? Nvidia, not so much. It was a good trade yesterday for the RevStrat day, but it's going to open as a 1. We go to AMD. AMD's gapping up there. Very nice stuff. And similarly, that one's got that monthly signal going and the quarterly inside signal up, confirming the semi rally. So you still have all quarter for those quarterly signals to go. Very good stuff. And for those of you that are just joining in, give me 1 second here. So to summarize though, we will be watching those on the gap list, each 30, each 60. We'll see if there's some volatility in there for us to be playing with today. And then the question is, with all the semis gapping up, who isn't? I'm trying to make sure we are up to speed prior to the open. I'm trying to go as fast as I can. So give me 1 second here. So if we go in here on the gap list, what we'll see gapping up, right? MXL, which we talked about yesterday, after that big puke intraday in the market, as one of those that were firming up a little bit stronger. Not sure what's going on here. It looks like earnings. So MXL is going to be gapping up 50%. It's crazy stuff. But Intel, AMD, RMBS, QCOM. So you can see like chips. Wolf Technologies. Keep going down the list. More tech. Semis ETF, more chips. So just chips. And, we were joking about it yesterday. We were like, if Tesla comes out and just says they're going to make chips, they'll be up 1 million points, because chips have infinite, nearly infinite demand. Like, imagine if you had a business where every time you put something on the shelf, it got sold no matter what the price was. That's kind of what they're dealing with right now. And if you're looking at this, you're like, oh, I missed it. No, you didn't. And that's the beautiful thing. If chips are going to continue to be very important, what do they use? They use a lot of energies. They use a lot of precious metals, right? And who's using the chips? Data centers. So you have a lot of different plays outside of just buying chip stocks, but they are, the highest leverage ones at this moment. But you can see like gold, for example. If gold's above 422, it's going back to all-time highs. And I'm telling you right now, it's not done. It's not done. Everyone that thinks it's done, it's not. And And if we go to silver, the same thing's true. If we look left. And these are not at all-time highs yet. So like you're not late if you're looking at gold and silver. And chips demand that. Like silver could be up 70%, right? As we go into the latter part of this year, very easily. Now, is that happening right now? No. But I do believe we will start to see that happen, especially if chip stocks demand continues to increase. That being said, to open them up, we don't have to be the first ones in on the gaps up. But what we do want to see is who's having issues. So you can see this morning Charter is having some issues, reclaiming on the week, reclaiming last quarter's highs as a 2-2 day gapping down. So Charter back through a previous range, nowhere near recovering that gap. We'll have some issues today for us to take a look at this morning. Looks like Schwab is going to go profit taking off the highs, but it's not changing the week. It's not changing the quarter, so it's just profit taking for now on the daily, guys. And I did see some of you guys in the premium chat looking at CCJ. It is closer to the 2-2 day down. So if all the chips are gapping up and these uraniums start taking yesterday's lows on the gap up sell intraday, that definitely could cause some issues for those guys. HIMS. HIMS is a green on the day, 3 and then inside green. That could blow out all the shorts because we saw a lot of shorting yesterday on the gap up on HIMS. But it would have to take yesterday's highs. So you have to see, do you get signals to confirm that full time frame continuity up? But that would be a pretty interesting one for Lotto Friday if we could get that to go too. For those of you guys trading APLD from the swing list in premium, APLD still gapping up and up 30%. That's pretty good stuff. See if CoreWeave. CoreWeave's up 40% still. Not as strong today though, but still good on the week, still good on the quarter. So those data center plays. CCJ completely fills the gap, so it's trying to give you the outside 60-minute gap up sell this morning to cause a 2-2 reversal day in the uraniums as some relative weakness. And this is while SPY goes inside day. Man, what a slow week we've had. 3-2, 3-1 on SPY currently. Dow is inside day, and then IWM is inside day. So they're kind of just slow start to this morning. However, this does tell you, there's slightly more selling to start the morning, but who's getting sold off? Let's go. Pfizer is not from our list yesterday. Healthcare's is taking out the lows. Financials, looks like they're still selling that one off as well. Utility, some sellers coming in today with Staples as well. Staples had slight triangle layout and they're coming back in, so that's a little bit of an issue for Staples. Discretionaries inside day. Technologies, very much stronger. Palantir is not involved in that. Let's see, PanW, they firmed back up. Meta's not firming up. Google is not firming up. Gosh. Microsoft firms up a little bit. Apple is not firming up. So, yeah, we're really not seeing, this gap up. We're seeing a lot more selling than buying outside of, it looks like Intel is up to start the morning session off. You can see MU blows out all the longs into high day, or all the shorts, I mean. AMD is very much up to start off the morning session. Same with TSM. Poet. This was a good one. We mentioned that one off the bottom of this triangle down on the week at like $6. Now it's trading 14. That's good stuff. I don't think that was a swing alert. I think that was something we talked about during the intraday streams for the small capper traders. Nvidia, they are taking out the shorts. Now, yesterday's high is 203.83 as the top of that broadening formation if they're going to pop out of it, which is what you'd want to see if they're going to firm things up. Really start taking them out. For now, to start the day off, SPY 225ers back down. Qs goes inside fivers. Dow a little bit weaker inside day, and then IWM is also fivers back down to start the morning. And if they're going to buy a gap up in the morning, you'd prefer to see them go down first. That makes it a little easier for us. Charter this morning destroyed as they get redder on the day, still having those issues going. Outside weak, like we said, when the whole market gaps up, you want to go and find the ones where it's like, hey, I bought this one and the whole market's gapping up and this one is now gapping down. So charters, they're really getting killed, confirming the second fivers of the day. Going that outside week, trying to negate the quarter. On the gappers, FCX looks like they went into the lows, but they got a nice outside fiver to start the day. SPY, so they went slightly lower and then they start coming back. So if they were going to go back to the morning highs, it would look like that first, reclaiming those morning lows, trying to go outside day now, or outside fivers to 7-Eleven. Now, that still would be like $1.50 off yesterday's highs. So if that works, would it change the day to a 2? You know, maybe. Qs is inside fiver. Dow goes 3-1. So Dow Jones, we got triangle day out. If we look in the fivers, this would be the broadening formation. So if we're going to see things firm up, we would want that triangle day out to take out yesterday's highs. But even then, what? 493, 495 is yesterday's highs. So they're nowhere near doing that at this point. And then IWM is also inside day, except that'd be a little closer, right? If this goes outside fiver or even just 222 fiver to the upside, be a little closer to a rev strat day. And IWM on the quarterly basis, is relatively strong sector, or not sector, but index ETF. Besides OIH, it looks like the energy ETFs are all going to become 2 down days. They're currently inside, setting up the inside weeks for next week, which will be a fun time, I imagine. Charter, after reconfirming, down another $4, almost $5 now on the fivers, continuing down, reconfirming that monthly, or actually that weekly, daily 60-minute seller on the gap, getting demolished in there. And right now what I'm doing is I'm just going through the strongest stuff to see where we have some very aggressive participation this morning, which will make it easy stuff for us, hopefully. There's a lot of names I am not super familiar with at the top of the list this morning. For example, SLM, the 3-2 day, 2-2 month in force, 3-2 week. And you got inside Fiverr trying to set up in here. You'll see outside 15 this morning, which shows aggression on earnings. And it looks like those earnings were really good. So if they're going to keep going, you could get a 3-2 15er in there. Or maybe a momentum 3-minute after they go and get after it to start the morning session. MXL also on the gapper list. Momentum fivers, long green bars all across the board there. And they're not at all-time highs yet. We know magnitudes, it's going to 78. So MXL, they're going momentum continuation, or at least trying to start the day. What we'd prefer to see if we're going to get the gap up and go is to see the lower lows first. So if we can triangle they out at 54 on MXL and then start going the other way, that would be ideal. It's like energies made some slight lower lows and then reclaim right on the day. So potential outside days in the energy sector ETFs. AMD looks like they're still jamming into the highs off some very small time frame signals. Intel is stuck inside the morning range, so you're going to get the consolidation or equilibrium here. So you might get your rev strat or you might get your breakout. We are going into the second 15ers of the day, so that 15-minute decoupling is going to be going on. And that will either confirm or negate that the seller or the buyers are still there, because you're going to have that shooter 15 cooking up in Intel to force potentially some profit taking on the gap up. Surprisingly, SMCI is starting to crawl back from the dead. Look at this. 2-2 day in the semis, back through a range, or previous range. So there could be guys who are shorting here on this stuff, and that one's jamming to the highs. So if semis are going to keep going right there, that one's 2 up 15 again. You could watch those shorter term time frames and see if they want to reconfirm. Now, as we get into the second 15ers of the day, OIH is back to full time frame continuity up. So for those of you guys that have been trading that with us since a couple days ago here on Wednesday, still good, OIH. AMD on the new 15ers, closer to reconfirming off an inside 3-minute momentum. Nvidia had very slight fiver triangle day out, which could give you the 3-2 day to the upside as 3-2 reversal. After this corrective activity, just slight lower lows in here. If you can get like an inside 3-minute or an inside fiver back to the upside. For now, they are inside 15, so that might also be setting up too. Semis go inside 15 with the tech. SPY is still closer to 15ers down. Qs is doji on the day. And Dow Jones, they're still right at the daily lows in the industrials, with IWM also at low a day in the small caps. All the utilities closer to 2215s back up on the second 15ers of the day. They're not tech stocks, so they don't move as hard. But if they all break to the upside, that would reconfirm the simultaneous break we saw yesterday. We saw about 80% utilities going up yesterday as a reversal. MXL is still momentum to the upside on the gapper list. Also inside 15. So far, AMD, Nvidia inside 15ers, semis overall, closer to taking out the morning lows. So you get a, like LRCX, for example. See how that takes out the highs and then starts coming back in? Could be causing some issues there. However, that one's got some distance to reverse. They're still inside 15. If we go to AMAT, takes out the morning lows, so a little weaker in there. Teradyne, shooter 15 down, so a little weaker in there as well. Speaking of gold from this morning, it's closer to the Rev Strat day to the upside, pivot machine gun style, and it's green on the day. So we have an evidence of a buyer in there today. You could have the 2-2 hammer 4-hour gold to trigger the day gold. And they're getting close to doing that. Silver is similar. There's just, a lot more gaps and stuff in here. But still inside month, so they're still firm. They're not going down this month. Still inside week, so they're still firm. They're not going down this week, although they're red. So we'll be monitoring and see if they take out yesterday's highs or not there. Yeah, a lot of inside 15s, real estate, staples, tech, semis, all inside 15. SPY, Qs, Dow Jones is 2 down, IWM is 2 down. And that's 3-2-2 down IWM, so it's going for the outside 4-hour, or you could say the outside 60 in there. Still inside day though, so just try not to get chopped up. SMCI still jamming to the highs, and like we said, you can go in there on a 1 minute, and what you do is you do the strat. And the strat is this. You know it's going up already, since we saw semis, and this is going through a range where guys are short. And you triangle they out. Slight lower low, hammer oneer, get in, and then break even the stop. If it's going to work, they're going up there at 29.89, what? 29.94. And if not, break even stop. You can also add to it, like there, right on the hammer oneer. So for now, second 15s of the day, semis, SMCI is confirming to the highs. And that one has a little bit more shorts you could take out in there. Nvidia, inside fivers up, trying to trigger the 3-2 reversal day. So Nvidia would confirm the semis sector. Now it's still inside 15, so that could rev strat if that's not going to work. And that's the tricky part of these inside 15ers. We still have 9 minutes, so they could easily become a 2, but it has to be a 5-minute signal in for us, or else it's not gonna. And we prefer on the gap up to go down, but the only things we see going down, it's like Teradyne right now in the semis, so that has to be weaker. MU shooter 15 just triggered, so it has to be weaker. So Teradyne and MU are really the only ones we see, and they're still pretty strong. Like, they're bright green on the weeks and everything. At best, you could say that's profit taking from those weekly guys who've been buying all week, since you got a gap up to sell into. Semis, SMH goes 15ers down, so now you have some simultaneous break kicking in. MU, Teradyne, semis. TAC also went 15ers back down. And while that's the case, financials are still inside 15. Materials stay inside 15ers. Utilities are still 2-2 hammer 15, confirming almost full time frame continuity, but a lot of dojis in there this week and this month. Staples are also inside 15, still pretty firm. Energies, they're all inside 15 as well, across the board. So you got a lot of inside 15ers, a lot of consolidation here across the market. KNW inside fiver. I like the look of that. I'm just going to bump that. Bump. Because you do have the hammer day, and you got another inside fiver, and you might get that slight corrective activity that you want. So semis, you can see going to the lows. So they're having some issues. And the place you're going to see issues is places where it's like, hey, you bought it yesterday, and you weren't holding Intel, right? So Teradyne gaps up. It's like, this isn't Intel. It comes back below the previous day's highs, and now anyone that bought yesterday is like, oh no, the gap up is gone. I need to get out of this thing. And then you might get that outside day. Now, it's not guaranteed. We still have, the 30 and 60 decoupling, where we're going to gain more evidence of what they're doing today. But to start off, a few semis are weak, but most of them, if we go to Nvidia, it's still inside 15, so that has not reversed. AMD, although it's red, 2 up in red, it's not a reversal yet. It's profit taking off the highs on the gap up, but they're trying to go outside bar to low a day, so they're having a little bit of issues. And then, MU, looks like semis goes outside fiver, so they triangle lay out again. Now it's a little bigger though. So this would be that little one-er broadening formation in there this morning. Staples are getting greener. Let's see, TSEM. So you can see Tower Semiconductors, that one has to be weaker. Not going gap up today, that's an issue. Bright red weak, that's an issue. So TSEM, as we get into the second 30s of the day, that would be the closest one to, having further problems of anyone that's buying semis this week. Is they're wrong if they're buying that one. So we'll see if MU can give us that outside day off the 15ers with TER as well, if you want to be watching those weaker ones. And then if semis are going to firm back up, or when they firm back up, however you want to look at it, what you want is the ones that aren't doing that. It's like, you don't want to buy Teradyne, it's bright red on the day. We want stuff that's still green if the semis ETF starts going again. At this point, though, Intel gap up, sell, shooter down, right? So it's like, they're not even buying Intel, they're selling Intel on the gap up. And they're doing it above all-time highs, so that's a big problem for Intel. at least to start the day off, right? Second 30s of the day, you're going to have the shooter 30 in there as well. So you're going to mine the decoupling and see if that seller reconfirms or not in about 4 minutes. But we are seeing that reflected in semis overall, the 2-2 simultaneous break to the downside on good news. Same with the tech sector. Utilities, there it is, finally. So like we said, hammer signal here into just barely full time frame continuity up utilities. So there it is, boom. Now it starts gunning, and now it's working. So if we look up and left, you can see anyone short in this range. If that's going to work, they might get in trouble here, trying to short Utes. So these would be your pivot targets to speed price up. 46.34 is the first one. And you'll see things like AEP, 2-2-15ers after triangle layout, SO, right? Stuff we talked about yesterday for the simultaneous daily guys. Duck doing the same thing. And you just go down the list, right? WEC is going to look similar. Dominion, D, hammer to the upside. DTE, not so much. So it's not the US stock. I think it's DTE. Yeah, there it is. DTE. So you can see across the board, utility simultaneous break, and that's what algorithmic buying looks like. You see that whole sector go. So we'll see if they're going to still buy those today or not. And now that semis have blown out everyone trying to buy the gap up, the question is, are they going to stay that way? Or are we going to take everyone shorting the semis and take them the other way? We have about 3 minutes to the 30 flip. So that will be the major question here. So if you want to see what that would look like, right? So Intel, it went mother bar to start the day, which gives you equilibrium. Buyers and sellers agree on prices of Intel around 85 bucks. Now the seller decided to sell below that equilibrium, which is taking out the morning lows. But on the second 30 of the day, if the buyer is still aggressive, that monthly, weekly buyer, and if they're willing to buy up here, you would have pivot machine gun, which could go really fast into full time frame continuity. But if not, if we're still below that daily open and still red, you would have the 2-2 reversal 30s down. And you can see at the beginning of the day, you always have less evidence just because we're trying to disseminate, are they selling Intel on this gap up or are they going to be buying it? This shooter 30, if they're breaking below that in about 2 minutes, they would still be selling. I'd be reconfirming the downside. And if they're not, they're firming back up inside bars. So we're going to mine that flip and see if they confirm that selling they were doing or if they negate that selling that they were doing. What we'll see as we get to the 30 flips on SPY is you got 3-2-2-5ers trying to negate the day back to green. We go to the Qs. You're going to have 3-2-2 fund to save, fund to do 5ers trying to negate the day back to green as a 3-2 up day, 2-2 month still, 2 up week. And then semis, you'll see a little closer to the 2-2-5er trying to negate the day back to green. So we're going to mine that 30 flip in about a minute here. Nvidia, we had the triangle layout on the 5ers to trigger the 15s inside up to trigger the day, but they're going to open inside 30s. So they're still consolidating there to start off. So here it is, second 30s of the day. You can see the first 30 of the day SPY they sold. The second 30 opens, they didn't break anything. So for now, they open as a 1 on the 30, a 1 on the 15, and a 1 on the 5er. The next two, either it's going to be 2 down, reconfirming that sell, 2-2-30s down, or it's going to be 5ers up trying to negate. For now, they go 1 and red in the SPY. So if we go to tech, the second 30s, they open inside doji to start off. And then semis, doji, inside to start off. So we're not seeing anything yet. You'll see Intel, Doji slightly red, and then inside bar green. So Intel's still a little bit firmer on a very small basis, but a lot of inside fivers, a lot of inside 30s to start off. You can see healthcares on the second 30s. Fivers go back down, so they're still selling off healthcares. Pfizer is not really a part of that at this point, though. They're also still selling off biotechs. I imagine it's TMO. No, not so much. J&J, little bit. I don't really track healthcares very much. Utilities, you'll see on the second 30s, 3-1. So that buying lasted for 15 minutes. The new 30s open, and they decoupled, and that buyer's gone for now. Goes inside bars. Semis does firm up the fivers. Now they go inside 30. How are they going to become a 2? Would be the question. See, MU and Intel firmed up. Intel has that pivot machine gun style stuff, trying to take them out. And they're all going to go inside 30. So you can see here, 2 up, 1 Intel semis. Second 30s of the day, Goldman Sachs, 3-1-2 15ers down, triggering potential 3-2 down day with a 2 up red week. Interesting. And we'll see the financials, they're still down there. A lot of things are just staying inside 30s to start off. Pretty much every sector ETF just went inside 30. If you want to see a picture of that, I'm not sure if I have the 30-minute loaded in here, but we can double check. But if you're looking here, communications, telecom, retail is going to the lows. Biotech's pretty much at the lows. Uraniums are pretty much at the lows to start the morning off. And you'll see semis, doji. So it's like they're pretty much selling everything this morning. There's nothing green besides utilities, VIX products, gold miners, Nvidia, right? A little bit. But to start off the morning from those opening prices, nothing, literally nothing's green besides utilities, VIX products, and gold, which is really interesting. So you can see SPY, they're still inside 30. They're still red, trying to go 32.2 as a 322 down. Dow is still at the lows. And if we go back to Charter, boom, Charter. Did you know about that? I think you did. There's your outside week destroyed. And you'll see when you have full time frame continuity kicking in and you can gauge the magnitude to take out all these guys on the left, that second fiver of the day, look at that, down 12%. And why does that happen, right? Why did we know to be looking at Charter specifically? What was the process? The process was the whole market's gapping up. Who isn't? Who did they buy that is not gapping up? Because if you look at Charter yesterday, it gapped up and there was buying going on at 251, 253, 255, and there was buying going on all in this range. So they're buying. The whole market gaps up, boom, gaps down, destroyed. Broadening formation completely demolishes everybody trading this thing. And you can see from the top of the range, it's trying to go down there still, 181. They've been selling all morning. So that's, what's dragging down your communications ETF in here today. And that tells you Liberta as well, but they're going to be pretty much the same chart. And you'll see this one's even more illiquid, which is why we didn't really discuss too much of it. But you can see the 3 week broadening formation back to back. It's very cool stuff there. And that's what you do on a gapper. It's called disseminate the gap. Find where they're selling, find where they're buying. Now, at this point, utilities still pretty firm. Again, like we said, there's not anything green on the day besides real estates and utilities now. Staples is also trying to change that. They're 3-1 15er. And Staples, they aggressively bought yesterday. So if they're coming back today to buy more, look at this on the month. They went 6 pennies below last month's lows and then reclaimed. What's that? Broadening formation, just like Charter. It's just going to the upside instead. So interesting stuff there, at least slightly firmer this morning. Looks like semis. So you can see they went fivers up. Those buyers were not aggressive enough to do anything. For 5 minutes, all they did was go up and close pretty much at the same price. So as we go into the second 30, semis, a lot of consolidation here to start off. We'll see MU's consolidating still. Intel, they tried to go fivers up, did not work. They could go fivers down and trigger those 30s down. So that might negate those 30 opens. If we go to gold, gold is blowing through the morning highs. So here it is, 4-hour gold 2-2 reversal pivot machine gun to set up hammer week for next week. And maybe that hammer week will set up the 3-1-2 up month for next month. So that is worth noting. However, small positions, because if this 4-hour works, you can add on the day. Day works, you could add on it next week. And if that works, you add to it next month. So there's no reason to be like, I need to get all my position today. You can go small size and just go for it and see if it works. If not, what's $10 to lose? It's not a bad deal. Does look like MU is still firming up on the second 30s of the day. They go 2 up fivers again. SNDK, inside day up right now, SNDK, while the rest of the chips are lollygagging around. So 3-1-2 up SNDK, good mention powers. Semis, the second fivers, we do see them go 2s up again. So on the second 30 of the day, although they're inside, the buyer did come back. So this is changing the day and the 30s back to green. But they are inside. So like we just said on SNDK, that would be stronger to be looking at for the rest of the 30s and going into the second 60s of the day. Intel looks like they're still consolidating around. TSM still consolidating. AMD, they're also firmer, second 30s of the day. And you'll see the 2 up in red 15er did not reverse. So they went corrective activity, profit taking, and the buyer's still here. Nvidia off the hammer fiver, they're also reconfirming and trying to give you that momentum 15 into the 3-2 reversal day, into the 2-2 month. So Nvidia is still on the chopping block. It's got about 6 minutes if we're going to get double inside 15 or to set up. So Intel second fivers of the 30s, they also go slight 2 up, so they are confirming that for now. There's these inside 30s will slow things down a little. But you can see the semis on the second 30s of the day. After the sell, they triangle they out. Anyone that was buying this morning, and the buyers are trying to come back again. Now we'll have to see, on a gap up, we prefer to be a seller, but if they're going to go 2-2-2, so up, then down, triangle they out, then back up, that's what it would look like for a gap up buy. So we'll see. It's just still inside 30s here to start off the morning session on those semis. And tech is also inside 30s. Energies are all inside 30s and, well, actually inside 15 and down. So they're having some issues in XLE, XOP. PNW goes fivers back up to confirm the day and the week and month signals up. It's not a chip stock, so it might not be as aggressive today, but tech stocks are also moving. Come on, Nvidia, blow them out at 203.84. You know you want to. Ugh. And, you know, while things are lollygagging around as inside 30s, this is a good time to start talking about it. So when you are trading, the 30s and 60s are the only signals that will set up and break in the same trading day. The daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly signals have to set up and then break the next day or the next month, the next week, which is why those are the most important, the 30 and 60 time frames. Now, when volatility is lower, the 60 obviously becomes a little more important just because those lower time frame signals aren't doing as much. But what we suggest new traders do is if you're going to trade the strat or do anything with the strat, do not go lower than a 60 because there is more than enough opportunity if you wait for those 60s. You don't have to trade the first hour. So like inside setups, for example, like 2-1, those take 2 hours to set up and break. A rev strat, which is one of our crowd favorites, we won't start talking about rev strats, which for those who are not aware, 2-bar rev strats, we don't start talking about these till the 4th hour of the session. So the 4th hour of the trading day is when this can happen. And this is, you know, one of the things we look for. You can also see this happen on the 30-minute basis, on the last 30 of the second hour of the day is when we would first see that happening. So it's not necessary to go in and have to guess and just be like, well, there's a million things going on. What do I go and do? It's like, we have less evidence the first hour of the day than we do the whole rest of the day. And it's not just us, it's everyone who's trading because it's a universal truth. The 60-minute and daily opens are together until the second hour of the day. And the 30-minute and daily opens are together until the second 30s of the day. And what that means is until they separate, like semis, right? The first 30 minutes of the day, the only person or the only group of traders you're actually tracking is the daily group. Right when this second 30 opens, we now double our evidence. We're tracking the 30-minute and daily group. And you can see the 30-minute group came in and was like, no, we're still buying this thing intraday. That's exactly what happened. And that happened with the 225er, which is still good for semis for now. So you can see MU on the 225er, they firmed it back up. And it's that second 30 of the day, the decoupling right there. So they're still doing that. They're still inside, but they firmed things up. Looks like Nvidia did break a 2. You can see a slight triangle they out, but we'll see if they can break them back up there. Still inside day. We got a SNDK. Boom. Off the daily break, they rally another 2%. We'll see. If we can get all the semis to go inside 30s up, stuff like SNDK, if it's already going up, and then we see all the semis and tech go inside 30 and up to full time frame continuity, this should just keep going. There's no reason it shouldn't, because it would be a leader. So we'll see as we get into now the second 15s of the 30. Well, the last 15s of the first hour of the day coming up hot right now. SNDK is the best. Powers loves trading SNDK. I'm surprised you didn't trade Car, man. That thing was a monster. I didn't touch it, but we told everyone on Twitter how to time the top of it, and man, did it time the top of it. We said anytime the day is red, the day in 60 groups are going to be overriding the weekly, monthly groups who are buying, and it did right there. 77499. And then they drop 73% in 2 days. It's crazy. Now that's a good trade, right? Nvidia, slight fiber corrective activity. That was right when you got back from vacay. I mean, I bet it's still gonna have some decent volatility, just nothing like that. Going back to zero, right? So you can see semi slight red fiber. Did that change the day or 30? No. Slight profit taking, still good. You can see MU still firming up. Go to Intel. It's a slow and steady climb, right? There's like slight doji, but they're setting up that inside 30, so we'll give them the benefit of the doubt for now and see. We got about 13 minutes for these equilibriums to close out. And what you can do is you can go to the strat scanner, hit the inside 30 scan, and go to technologies, and this will show you 132 equilibriums. Equilibriums are important because it tells you buyers and sellers agree on price, and it cannot be refuted because it's a universal truth of how price works. So when you look at this, what's it telling us? Well, it gaps up. You'll see tech, it's a reversal on the day. People were shorting this thing yesterday, so they're in trouble. But it gaps up, and then it goes inside bar. That shows you they agreed, because the sellers were not willing to sell below low of day. So they're like, hey, tech is worth more than low of day. Or at least it's not worth what low day is, right? And then buyers, so far, they are not willing to buy above the morning highs. So buyers and sellers are like, yeah, this is about what it's worth when it gaps up. Now that's trouble if we can get above that for anyone that's short yesterday. Because if you shorted yesterday thinking the market's turning over, I got news for you. The month is bright green. Good luck turning that around. The week was still green. Good luck turning that around. So they're wrong. So if we can get the inside 30 to break up, what it would do, especially if we saw it across, 130 names, what that would do is that would show us a new buyer shows up or the buyer comes back. Because if they're willing to pay up above the equilibrium, that means the buyers think it's worth more than what it's at. So we'll see, but all of those inside 30s show you they agree on price. So we can just go down the list and you're going to see a million of them. Get the market cap in there to make it easy. We can see Nvidia, Google, Apple, Microsoft, AVGO, MU, Palantir, LRCX, Intel, AMAT, IBM, ANET, TXN, T-Mobile, Verizon, ADI, Shopify, Uber, PNW, QCOM, Dell, Marvell, right? Every name you've ever heard of in your whole life just went consolidation. And there's different types. You got outside bar and then inside bar. So these would be your broadening formations this morning. We got like Palantir. Looks like it's just becoming a 2 down. So Palantir, they're still selling this thing. We talked about it yesterday, guys. Rev stratting the week, trying to go outside week for 313 to the downside. So Palantir, 3230s down, full time frame continuity down. Having issues in Palantir this morning. Oops. But if we go to AVGO, you can see Broadcom. That's having some issues, right? 3 and then 1. So huge gap up sell. And then inside bar equilibrium, they agree. They're like, yep, we sold it. That's about what it's worth now. And you have a 2-2 day, which tells you have further targets. So maybe that kicks in if chips were to weaken up. And this is where we do that relative strength, relative weakness. Looks like Dell a little closer to firming up. Let's see, TXN. So TXN, Texas Instruments, gap up sell 3 and then 1. So if the chips were weak, right? Let's say semis go inside bar down. Semis, look at this. It's nowhere near yesterday's lows, right? So anyone long yesterday, this would have to drop 24 points to take them out, which could happen, but it's nowhere near doing that. Now, if you go to TXN, bright red on the day, and that'd be a little closer to taking them out. So it's more selling going on this morning, and it'd be closer to doing that. So that'd be a little bit weaker. Let's see, Marvell. See 3-1 Marvell, similarly, closer to going outside day reversal, pivot machine gun of these guys. So if chips are weak, got a few weak ones in there for sure. About microchip, inside day. So the whole chip market gaps up, and this one did not. But since they're inside, this would be that consolidation here with the broadening formation cooking up. Like this. We look at the SPY at this point, still green on the 30s inside bar, so closer to the inside 30 setup to change the day into full time frame continuity. Qs, looks like they did take the morning highs out, so you got your broadening formation. We said the 322 fun to say, fun to do to take you back to high day Qs, and you got it like that. Bang, bang. And we call this the good morning triangle. They go up, then they go down, then they go back up, and then they might go back down, and we have to get outside of that and to resolve this battle up here on the gap up this morning. Dow Jones looks like 3-2 down in green 30, but still stuck inside day, doji week. IWM still inside 30, still inside day, doji week. SNDK set up maybe a RevStrat 5-room. Good mention, Powers. So you can see semis on the second 15. They did not follow through. Now they're coming right back to the 30 open. Doji, doji, inside bar. Now what? When is the next two? We'll see Staples inside 3112 up 15ers. They only got, 7 minutes left, but trying to kick back into full time frame continuity. Hammer week in force, 2 going 3 month, 2 up day, 15er signals. So Staples are still firm. And we found this out yesterday. For those that you aren't in the Discord, in the morning, what we saw was really aggressive rotation right here into Staples and into utilities really aggressively in the morning. And then we saw the second hour of the day, we saw them start buying the VIX products right in here, 1630. And we were like, why are they doing that? And then all of a sudden, all that news comes out, and we saw this happen to oil, or USO. We saw this happen to oil, where was it? Wednesday. So you can see the second hour of the day, they did buy some oil, but then the third hour, they actually reversed. So oil exploded, and then we go to the indexes, then the indexes puked because oil exploded. It scared everyone. So pretty interesting stuff that they're still rotating into utilities, at least a little bit, in Staples. And that's something we just want to keep monitoring with oil, because when they get freaked out, this is the type of stuff they go and buy. As well as, when they think inflation's a problem, which, hopefully they can figure that out, but I don't think they ever will. We will see materials also firming up as well with the Utes and Staples. Nvidia, they're still holding pretty firm up here, so very much still closer to getting that inside 30, maybe sideways at 45 minutes, just as measured move. Charter pretty much still at the lows, and you're going to see slight corrective activity on the fibers. So if you're like, Alex, I missed it. It's like, well, if they had 1 million shares to sell on Charter, they might have another, 5 million to sell. Who knows? We still got down here to target and take out 180.52. And if you look at Charter, is that one coming back to daily open at 232? Oh, it's not? Well, guess what? It's still going down today then. So you got all day. We're not even to the second hour of the trading day. So once that second hour opens up, you'll get to see, are they still selling this baby? And if you don't understand how that works, it's relatively simple. So for example, Charter, prior to earnings, they sell. It opens. Are they still selling it? Yep. And then they're still selling it. Yep. Then they're still selling it. Yep. And it keeps going until right here, slight profit taking, right? So that's what you're looking for. If they sold it this much in the morning, they might have more to sell, right? Could be selling all day. And I bet those options got a little bit spreadier, but if they're really moving, they're really moving. As we get to the new 60s, we can look for 60 actionable signals, such as the hammers and shooters. I'm going to take a look quickly at outside bar hammers with full time frame continuity true. I see a lot of cyclicals instantly on that list. So like Etsy, you can see it's green on the month, no monthly targets, no weekly targets, so nah. For now, gold, still an inside day, I believe. Yeah, equal highs. Let's see, CCOI. Nah. There's really not that much in here on the hammer list for the outside bars. Let's see, 2 down. Is there any gappers in here? SNDK. So far, nothing. So as we get to the second 30s of the day, tech inside 30s shooter, which tells you, some of the weaker ones potentially. Marvell, the 3-1, would be setting up. TradingView versus TOS. Yeah, you're always going to have a different price. They use different data. TradingView is always going to be worse. It's one of the worst platforms as far as data accuracy goes and speed. So if you want really accurate price data, professional brokerage would be the way to go. The only reason I use it is just because it makes it really easy to flip through things versus Thinkorswim. And I can't live stream like all 4 of my monitors to point out and show you guys things that are going on. So it's easier to flip through this and show you guys that way. I haven't seen price discrepancies like this. It could just be, they're having some type of like minor outage or problem. It's possible. Normally the discrepancies aren't big enough to really matter. But yeah, so weaker stuff as we get into the second hour of the day. Healthcares, there'd be momentum 30s, and they still have weekly targets below. So for those of you guys playing the healthcares short with us this week, getting what you want. Now, oddly enough, in healthcares, Pfizer, bottom of the broadening formation, dink dink, right? 2-2 reversal hammer. So they're trying to go back up in here. Pfizer. So interestingly, while the healthcares are weak, Pfizer is not. And we don't really see J&J weakness. So there must be some specific stuff going on there. And I really don't care to go and find it. You can watch the healthcare ETF if you want to play off of that. But SPY so far, inside day 3-1 doji mess. Choppy, right? And it's choppy because it's inside day. Dow Jones still inside day, choppy mess. IWM still inside day, choppy mess, right? And that's part of the issue here. You got 3 of the 4 major indexes for the US equities inside. Like, how are you going to fix that? AMD forward PE is 45, MU is 8. It's a beautiful point, Chuck. Does that mean we should, does that mean that we need to see this go 5x? So we're going to $2,500? We can see the broadening formation here. So what happens is price will broaden a range. So you can see new highs, then new lows, then new lows, then new highs, then new lows, then new highs, and then eventually it expands the range. And if you've ever looked at an SPX chart, you would know that's true. And that's what's happening this month. So you got reason to believe if semis are going to be strong, MU is one of them because you got range expansion going on. And what happens is people shorting MU thinking it's turning over. If they have those positions open, every dollar it goes higher than this broadening range, they get into a worse position where they're gonna have to close that. So we will see if that's the case. Second 60s of the day open up. We want to see, does the second group or the second 60 group, does this decoupling confirm or negate? Because we're gaining evidence. We just doubled the amount of evidence we have today. because we now have a separate 60 open to the day open, which gives us a separate 60-minute group to track. So we can see if this group is going to cause the daily group to lose, or is this group going to come in and sell with the daily group, taking out the morning lows. For now, though, a lot of inside day mess. So the place to be is on those earnings gappers, places that have long red and green bars. That's where you want to be right now. And if we just take a look, Charter's at the top of the list. We pretty much gave you that 5 minutes into the day, so very nice stuff there. NBIS would be another example of some long red and green bars. You got long red bars. It's currently 3-2 down 60, so it's broadening range expansion. If that were to fail, you'd have reclaim and you'd have a big range to come back through. So you can get that on your radar. NBIS, it's moving 3-260s down. Oracle, 3-260s down as well, getting destroyed. And Oracle, look at this. Broadening formation on here. They're having some issues here. Just got to be aware with threes, they are broadening formations. So if it reclaims that by 1 penny, you could test the high of day again. So it's got to stay below that 3 if it's going to really break out. Oracle. And NBIS. 3-260s down, second 60s of the day. It's like Circle, CRCL is doing the same thing. So we're seeing some technology stuff kicking into the downside as 3-2s. IonQ, IonQ, yeah. All right, we're seeing some tech 3-2s for sure. IonQ also goes 3-2, which is your quantum computers. Teradyne, inside 30s down to cause 60, 2-2 down to cause outside day. Teradyne, the target's 390, or at 389.36 off that inside 30 down Teradyne. Nvidia still staying green on the 60s. So while they sell off some other specific names in tech / semis, not Nvidia. Nope, not selling that one. So that's a good thing to know about. We got an MU. They're also not really selling that much either. So you can see very specifically they're selling certain ones, and those are the ones that are red on the day below their daily opens. And we can actually scan for that. So we can go 30s, 2 down, copy, make it tech specifically, copy. Then we go to 2 down day. These would be your weakest ones in tech. Snow, Oracle, right? Palantir, Reddit, Netflix, Google, MongoDB, Charter, right? And we nailed that. Now, on the gap up sell, your gap up sell names would be 2s up. So you see Iren, Net, Teradyne's right there, QCOM, AMAT, LRCX. So there's some specific ones they're selling on this gap up. It's not everyone, but Teradyne's one of the weaker ones. Looks like APLD also had the gap up sell today. I'm sorry we weren't tracking that. I know for the investors off the monthly rev strat, you're getting what you want, just not today, right? They're taking their profit this morning, but you're nowhere near changing that month in there. Nvidia 60s up. Let's go. Boom. Right. So you can see, like we said, we go in here. You want to know that because what that shows you is they're buying Nvidia. The other thing that's true is people are short Nvidia the past 2 months and their stops. They probably have some stops at those all-time highs. Now I can't guarantee that, but what I can tell you is it's weaker, which means this is a laggard, but they're buying the laggard, which is Nvidia. And this 3 on the day shows you the longs got completely blown out yesterday. So even if there isn't people short this, these are all the guys who got stopped out yesterday, getting back in this morning at the highs. So let's see if they want to buy up. And we want to see it above 203.83, which is the top of the broadening range, yesterday's highs. And that's while semis are not doing too much as the ETF goes. And I did not get to mention it for you on SMCI, but we told you, right? If they're short in here, they got stopped out. SMCI is a good one to know about. Now you'll see the triangle right here. So they made slight lower lows and then they went slightly lower, hammer oneer, all the way back to the top of the range. And now it looks something like this. And the reason that happens is because these sellers, it's like, oh, it's turning over, I'm taking my profit. The day never changed. It's above its daily open, still going up today. So when that seller's done selling, the buyer comes back and they're like, all right, we're still buying. Ding, 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 ding. And that seller gets screwed. And that's your broadening formation. Triangle it out, then back up. And this is all while SPY and Q's still just doji mess. And this is why futures traders, oh, I only trade the NASDAQ. No thanks. Does NASDAQ do this? Look at Charter. Does it do that? I don't think it does. $232 to 190. And we gave you the short going into the second 60. Look at that. Slight corrective activity. Hey, is the day still red, Charter? Oh, yeah, it is. You're still selling? All right. 2-2. Right there. Another 3% in less than 10 minutes. NASDAQ doesn't do that. Ever. This guy looks like such a turtle. Every time I see him, he just looks like a turtle. Look at him. Let's see if I can... By the way, second fibers of the 30s kicking in on SPY. They're trying to buy it. So you can see, what's the second 60 group doing? They're causing the first group to lose, right? If you sold the first hour of the day and this group starts buying above 709.89, those guys are a loser, right? And what would be even worse is if those sellers are the same sellers from yesterday and they're trying to short the SPY. Because if we can take out high of day, they have to start covering, and then we take yesterday's highs out, then they're really jammed. And we're going to see all-time highs real fast. So for now, second 60 group SPY, we gain evidence that we know to be true. However, they're still inside bars. So when we go to the breakdown of what's going on intraday, you'll see we have a slight bullish bias, specifically real estate's discretionary leading here. And then some slight, bearish bias, but look at this. 80% of SPY and Qs are inside bar equilibrium. So it's kind of a mess out there until we can get those dailies to get going, get those 60s kicking in. It's still inside bar, still inside day. So we don't like to time those inside bars. We'd rather just not trade an inside day, and we can monitor it on the SPY. And then go to the things that look like long green bars where they're actually trading today. Nvidia 205 calls up 123%. Did you know? He did. 40 contracts. Beautiful stuff, man. And look at that. Boom. There's your broadening formation taken out. And this is just proof to you guys. You do not have to buy the open. You don't have to be the first hour of the day guy. You just go in here and you're like, wow, they're buying Nvidia today. Where's it going? Is that a broadening formation on the day from yesterday on Thursday that blew out anyone that was long Nvidia? It is. All right. What happens if they come back and they buy more? Well, we're going to take that out. And then it's going to broaden because it's a broadening formation. It might just keep going. Because what a broadening formation shows you is the sellers are willing to sell lower. The buyers are willing to buy higher. And then they do that again. They buy higher and they sell lower. And then it comes in today and the buyers are like, we're willing to buy it way higher if we can expand this baby. So here it is on the 60. 204.50 would be that level of resistance. If you can break that thing out, it could go $5 really fast. So we'll see if Nvidia can give you all-time highs. 212.44 would be ideal if we're above broadening resistance, where you can see resistance to the penny, and then resistance to the penny. And then right here, if they can get out of that and stay out, that's go time for us. We know that's true. And if you go to SMCI, look at that one too. You can see on the fiver, slight corrective activity, profit taking. Boom, blows out all the shorts at high day. MU, almost about to break the 30, which would confirm Nvidia as a buy still. Intel, you can see still mother bar issues. These two 30s inside bar to the morning out, or the morning 30. So what you can do is look for the rev strat. However, you just gotta be aware when these bars are getting stuck in the morning range, that can show lack of interest / they agree on prices. They're like, yeah, we don't have to buy Intel anymore. Like it's at the right price for the time and place, such as today. Nvidia though, not the right price. Measured move. Not the right price. It's not at all-time highs yet. It's still good. About to be in the money in Nvidia. Yeah, so just count your minutes. How long do you got, right? You got 19 minutes on this 30 signal. So that 30 level of defense at 203.12, you have 19 minutes for that to stay defended would be our ideal. As long as we're above yesterday's highs, you have no reason to exit today. So that'd be your daily level of defense up at 203.81. So since you have 40 contracts, what I would say is over 100%, like if you hit 200%, you can just sell off like 10 of those, 15 of those, and guarantee you're going to win. And then you can come back later. If they're really going to get after Nvidia, that'd be one way to do it. But just make sure you don't let that go red. Deal? Deal. I'm up 45%. I use next week's calls on Nvidia, the 501. So actually like end of or beginning of next month. So I'm going to have slightly less returns than the 0DTE, but get. OIH, get. We bought that thing Wednesday, 416, now 432. And we've been telling everyone, you know, OIH, it's going to $1,500. Whether you like it or not, that's what's trying to happen. Held my Nvidia through yesterday, finally green. Yeah, the hardest thing with holding losers is if you didn't do that, you could have, you know, stopped out, got back in, and then added to it. But I'm happy that you are finally green, guitar. Very good stuff. Great stuff, Nvidia. Good job, team. I want to get good at changing tickers like you. Honestly, don't. I don't suggest it. Because me and you, we're doing two separate things. I am trying to disseminate the data using my eyes, and as well as the scanner, for you. So if we're going through and we're like, wow, look at Nvidia, it has to be stronger. It's like, now you know exactly what you should be trading. Or we go through and we're like, whole market's gapping up today. What do you go for? Charter. Now you know what to short today. So you have two names. And then you get to focus on those two things. And if we call out audibles and we're like, hey, you know, this is setting up the rev strat into full time frame continuity to trigger a, you know, quarterly signal, has a magnitude of 50%, then you can go and look at it and be like, am I going to add that to my radar? Like, am I going to keep watching that or not? Because you have to choose where you're going to do the battle at. And I'm here just to try and help you do that. Because what most people do is they go on, they trade one future, and then they have no idea what the market's doing. They're like, whoa. Why did the futures puke so hard yesterday on like the third hour of the day? It's like, well, first, they started buying staples and Utes. Second, they started buying VIX products. Third, they were buying energies all morning and all week. Fourth, the flip happened, and then all of a sudden, all the indexes start coming back in. It's like you had all that evidence, but if you're only looking at NASDAQ, you're never going to have that, ever. And evidence is what allows you to hold things or expect things to actually work. Like, the reason we expected Nvidia to work is because it's bright green, everyone yesterday is short, and semis all gapped up today. There's no reason this thing should be going down, right? Zero. Versus if we go to Teradyne, it didn't work on the short side, right? They tried, but there's no reason that should be going up unless, right? Unless you get the rev strat to kick in. And like we said, the rev strat, one of our favorite things to do, looks like a failed signal, right? Inside bar down, it doesn't work. It comes back. That's one of our favorite things because you can go right back to high a day as a target. So the 2-bar rev strat here, you're going to see that setting up in Teradyne. Although it's weaker, it is still a rev strat. Now, if we go to who looks like that on the 30s right now, and it looks like I have some delayed data going on here. Just refresh it. But we can go 1, or actually, oops, 1. So previous inside bar, 2 down. And then we can go green to see who's setting up, or we can go hammer. And we still have 15 minutes on the 30s, but to my point, AMAT, LRCX, rev strat setting up. Marvell, rev strat setting up. And Marvell's a strong one, so let's take a look. Right? It's like, are they anywhere near changing the day? Not really. However, they're still really green on the week and month. So maybe that weekly, monthly buyer can do it. You just got to be careful of the chop shop here. Because if you can't take high day out, you're really stuck in that. So maybe. They did triangle layout, so it'd just be retracement instead of reversing this range. You're retracing through it. And there's a big difference to that. Nvidia, did you know about the breakout level? You did. You did. True resistance was 204.43, now 206.45. And the reason it's true is because it's broadening. 60-minute being a new day? Yeah, I can do that. So the problem with most things, and wow, Nvidia just I have 0 days. Dude, you should be up so much. You should be killing it. I love it. Woo! We're done for Friday, boys. We got Nvidia. If you want to see how we found Charter before it dropped 10% plus at the open, and how we bought Nvidia at 202/201/203/204 today, watch the stream. Thank you guys for tuning in today. But okay, so every 60 a new day. What does that mean? Well, whenever you look at a chart, everyone looks at one time frame. And if they're really good on Twitter, they might look at like 2 or 3. But the problem is you need to look at least 4 to have an actual picture of what's going on. Because if you have 4 time frames, you can discern between profit taking and actual selling. And you can also discern between real buying and just profit taking, or like conflicted buying, where it might just be short covering. So when we look at 4 time frames, that's what we're doing. Like we look at Nvidia, are they buying this month? Yes. Are they buying this week? Yes. Did they sell yesterday? Yes. Are they buying today? Yes, above $200. And then how do we know if they're buying right now? Each 60 will tell us if the buyer's present. So the first hour of the day in 60 opens, look at this. It's the same open. So we don't have, this 60 doesn't exist. You could just go like this. Doesn't exist. It's just the daily group. Once the second 60 opens up, now you have double the amount of evidence intraday, because that second 60 is tracking a fully separate group now. Because if we just highlight the daily group, do you see how the daily group, daily bar, includes 2 60-minute bars? By the end of the trading day, you're going to have, I believe, 7.5, or it's 6.5 60-minute bars. I could be incorrect. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Yes, you're going to have 6.5 60-minute groups once you get to the end of the trading day. So each 60-minute group is telling you, hey, is this daily buyer actually still here? And since we know more than one time frame, it's actually the monthly, quarterly, yearly buyer who's buying right now, which is why you can expect it to explode. Because if Goldman Sachs comes in here and they're like, yeah, well, you know, we've been buying Nvidia for the past 2 years. Are you sure you want us to buy more? Yep. How much do you want us to buy? About 5 million shares. Do you want us to do it this morning? Yeah, I mean, Nvidia's up or Intel's up and Nvidia's still trading at a pretty good price. So let's just go and buy Nvidia. All right, I got it. First hour of the day, boom, buy. Second hour, they come back, boom, they got more to buy. Third hour, they might have more to buy, right? And it just keeps going. Because it's the big group. We're tracking look at this. This is the yearly buyer that showed up the second quarter of the year. So not only do you have buying, but you have everyone last quarter that stopped out of Nvidia. They're like, Nvidia's turning over. It might just be done, right? And everyone's talking like that. It's like, might just be done. Nvidia's turning over. It's not a really good buy. It's like, all right, 2 quarter. Now what? Wow, I really wish I bought Nvidia. And then it goes from 206 to 210. It's like, oh no, I really wish I bought Nvidia. And it hits 250 and everyone's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to hop in. And then it starts exploding, right? It's exactly what's going on today. Every single group is a buyer. The yearly group, quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily, and intraday 60 group, which tells you anyone that's short, anyone from last quarter, anyone from last year, doesn't matter. They're incorrect. Everyone's a buyer. By price and time, it has to be true. So each 60 is a new day, because let's say the next 60 opens red. What happened? The buyer's gone. If the 60 is red, they can't be buying right now. It'd be impossible. Impossible. And since we know this is true, we still have 40 minutes to see if Nvidia wants to go from 207 to 210 and then 210, 215 and just keep gunning. Let's see MU. Off the inside 30, bang. So like we said, MU, this would reconfirm Nvidia's buying, because it's a 3-2 month. They're buying this month. They're buying this week. They're buying today. They're buying right now. That's what happened. Right at 5 502.80. Now it's only got 9 minutes on it, so you might get mother bar issues, but they are buying that. TSM, you'll have double inside 30s. Taiwan Semiconductor, rev stratting. Teradyne, still rev stratting above this 30 open. They are countering that equilibrium break to the downside. AMD, inside 60, inside 30 red. So look at, this is what we mean when we say each 60 is a new day. First hour of the day, they're buying. Boo! Let's go. New 60 opens. It's like a new trading day. What are they not doing? They're not buying AMD anymore. Versus you go to Nvidia. Yeah, for sure, they're still buying that. The only differentiating factor, the only reason Nvidia's up and AMD's down, the 60-minute open is a different color. No one can refute that. It's impossible to refute that. If you trade breakers, what strat chart appearance is it a I'm not sure. So when you say breaker, I'm going to give you two options. When you say breaker, do you mean like this? So like you have an uptrend, it goes into a downtrend, and then it reverses, and then you're like, this is my support level right here because support and resistance. Is it that? Or are you talking about like up, 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 red bar, green bar, like this? So it's number one, this one, this. I just want to confirm. The first two green bars are the breaker. This one. So what you're actually doing is broadening formations. Did you get into Poet? Honestly, I didn't. I just stopped looking at it, but it did what you wanted it to do. Yes, yes, yes. All right, got it. So what you're doing, and I've seen other people do this with these range Fibonacci stuff that we were talking about the other day. So if these green bars are the breaker, what's actually happening? It's just a broadening formation. It's like low, high, lower low, higher high. But what ICT people will do is they'll say, okay, well, since it went so much higher, this is now a support level. But not exactly. Because we know broadening formations exist. So like, let's go to, what is it? I'm not sure if I'm gonna have a really pretty example. But Lockheed Martin, oh gosh. You guys remember shorting defense on Monday? I think we gave this for free on Twitter, down 8% in LHX. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, sell. And I'll get back to your question in 1 sec. I just want to update. I want to update the tweets for the people, the Twitter people. We taught everyone how price works by showing them an 8% winner. Very good stuff. So the smaller time frame breaker can be eaten with the larger time frame breaker. Let's see. So this is what you're talking about, right? Just to confirm. It's just a broadening formation. But the thing is ICT, they say, you guys say, they say, you know, whatever. The teaching is that this breaker becomes support. But that's not true in the sense of how price actually works. It may look true, but in reality, when you're going to see a big move, it doesn't come back. It doesn't come back to this. And what I mean is this. The stronger of these moves, the strongest move, this low, would be nowhere near coming back to whatever the breaker or whatever you want to call it. The only reason you'll see this a lot as examples is mostly because futures aren't doing this. They're not this strong stuff. Like, it's not like AEHR when you look at the futures. Like, if we look here, the futures don't do this, right? Ever. But when we go in here, if we go here on the week, you're going to see outside bar, outside bar. So that's a broadening range, which means your breaker would probably be in there. Yeah. So when we look at this, right? And I'm not sure if I'm identifying this correctly, but let's just say it's something like this. So if you're going to call this a breaker, what is it really? It's just a broadening formation. But we don't want to see it come back. We want to see it break the highs and never come back. Because the support level is actually this. It's broadening. It's getting higher. So if you break out of this range to the upside and then you come back in and start testing these levels, it's weaker. We want this. It breaks 44, never comes back. Now it's trading at 100. Like, that's what an actual good, like, strong, amazing, that's what it looks like. So to use it as an entry condition is to enter on the weaker setups. Doesn't make sense to us, at least. But it's just broadening formation. At the end of the day, everything is broadening. 1, 2, and 3 scenario. There's only 3 scenarios, broadening formations, and then time frame continuity for evidence, as well as determining actual control. ARM power move this month? Yeah, ARM. We gave you guys that in the weekend vid. If you were paying attention to the quarter and yearly stuff, they did do it for the investors. 46% in 2 weeks from our 2-week inside bar. Is amazing. Amazing. If we go to Nvidia, like we said, we still got time, boys and girls. You got 32 minutes on this 60. How are you going to reverse that? Good freaking luck, right? They're going to all-time highs. As far as we know, give us 212.19 Nvidia. Give me my couple $1,000 so I can get going, get off for the day. I'm happy we were able to catch that very, very succinctly and clearly on the stream for you guys with high evidence and reason to believe that should work. I'm up $1,500 on Nvidia call options, just over 100% on next month calls, 207.5 calls. They're now almost $1 in the money. And I bought them way out of the money. I bought them at 202. It's almost like we knew it was going to go up. Get. Same with OIH. Get, boy. Get. We're all still in Nvidia, right? The thing you want to think is, like, imagine you shorted Nvidia or stopped out of it yesterday, right? Anyone that takes profit, any of us who are trading Nvidia today, if we take profit, we're giving the shorts an out. We don't want to do that. We want to be like, no. We're taking the liquidity out of the market. We're just going to sit here and watch what happens. Like, if you have to get out of a short trade, we want you to do that above all-time highs. We don't want to give you the option to do that right now. So you just want to hold and wait. We still have 30 minutes. Now, the one thing that is true is we are going to lose evidence in the next 30 minutes because this equilibrium that shows you buyers and sellers agree on price, that breakout of the equilibrium, it's still true. However, the signal 203.12, this is your level to defend against, that worked. That level is going to be gone. So the next level of defense would be wherever the next signal is. So if we go to the day, the next level to defend is yesterday's highs because that 3-2 reversal lasts all day, which means green gets greener. If Nvidia is going to go up $8 today, right? It already did. It might go up $16, right? If it's going up $100, you have to go up $10 first, right? So green gets greener. We don't have to get out. If I got it at 202 and it's trading 210, I don't have to do anything. The only thing I would logically have to do is defend it with a stop. It's the only thing. Outside of that, you don't have to take profit. You don't have to get out. You don't have to do anything once you're in a winning position. So, got out of Nvidia with only 60% profit. Yeah, so that's a problem because you're getting out when it's still good. Now, since that 30 changed right here, that's when you're supposed to do it because now you actually have a change to defend against. But if we're an intraday guy, you don't have to. The 60, you're nowhere near coming back. But that 30 right there, if you're a 0 DTE guy, right there, that's when you do it. Because now we have evidence to sell intraday, right there. And notice how the algorithm's right on the 30 flip. That's when it changed, period. Now, is that going to change the day or is it going to reverse the 30s? Probably not, right? But right there, that's when you're supposed to do it. by price and time. It has to be true. So it's 130% for me on next week's options in Nvidia. I'm pretty happy about that. So I'm going to defend my position just by moving stops up. I don't want to let this come back, but there's no reason for me to do anything and just wait. If we go to charters still at the lows. What do we tell you about charters? Second 60 of the day. They might have more to sell. Yep, they do. That's down 2%. Right? Everyone's fighting on the SPY to get 0.5% move today, and they have no idea what we know to be true. Now, if we go to SPY, did we tell you what we knew to be true? Yes. That 60-minute buyer, daily buyer, weekly, monthly buyer, right there. That's where the monthly buyer just showed up intraday. Right there, 709.89. What did they do? Anyone shorting the first hour of the day, blown out by the universal truth of the second 60 of the day decoupling. What's that going to do? The 60-minute seller getting blown out by this monthly buyer is going to trigger the daily seller from yesterday. So anyone that shorted yesterday above 712.36, they will get blown out. So that could at least get SPY moving to end off Friday. The only thing I would want you to be aware of is we're at all-time highs. And all-time highs, you tend to get up there and you chop around a little more. Now, since we've had some selling in this range, if there is short positions open, that trigger right at all-time highs should cause short covering. But it's got to be taken out. So we have another 27 minutes, the second 30s of the day on SPY. They went 2 pennies up and became a 2, but so far doing nothing. We need to be above that. 711.60. If they're going to 712, you got to be above that. For now, you see slight profit taking SPY, which aligns with Nvidia, right? Slight profit taking there as well. And that's a 2 up in red now. So that's even, you want to defend against that. On the options contracts or the underlying, both. If you're trading an option, you just have to realize that, if you're a 0 DTE guy, the way options move, like if we're looking at Nvidia, the 0 DTEs, they went like this, spike up, got really expensive, and then they started drifting back down as it goes sideways. And then it starts spiking again, and it goes right up into the highs, and then right on the 30 change, it goes like this. Because you have those Greeks and whatnot that are affecting it. So you want to use, ideally, the options. If you're using 0 DTE, you want to watch the option price. If you're weeks and months out, it would make more sense to defend against the daily or weekly, monthly defense levels, because then the trade's still true. Because even if it goes sideways here and it starts going down a little bit, you're still going to be in money. You're still going to be making a lot of money. But the longer the amount of time you have on the contract, the more you can just look at the stock chart. TTD is a serious squeeze candidate. Let's see. So TTD. Now, I see what you see. I see the broadening formation. But hey, can I share with you guys something? Solana. Now's the time, in my opinion. If you are a crypto person or you want to get into crypto assets, I believe Solana now is the time. Now, I'm not saying today's the day. I'm just saying this time, this year, like this quarter, is the time to do it. Because what we saw, selling, firms up. Now, it's not a reversal on the quarter, but these are the prices, the bottom of the triangle, these are the prices you would want to be a buyer of crypto. And if you go to XRP, it just so happens to look the exact same as Solana. And I think XRP is going to all-time highs. So if you are looking for long-term, like high risk, high reward assets, I believe now's the time. XRP and Solana, if you wanted to split it between those two, you could obviously go into other ones, but those are the ones I'm looking at. Solana specifically and XRP specifically, just because of their utility and like how they're used, I think the volume will increase, especially as crypto assets start to come back, which will be happening. Some of them very, very quickly, but will be happening, in my opinion, as we get into the later parts of this year. And obviously price will tell us, but I'm just telling you now, if you want to get a good price and you're an investor type trader, like a positions trader, definitely something to think about. You can see Nvidia at this point, slight profit taking, nowhere near reversing still. Look at the 5 minute. They haven't even reversed a 5 minute yet. So 2 up in red, slight corrective activity, and then 1. So the buyer's still present. They're just maybe sitting on the bid, or they're just not taking the offer. So since we were able to get some really good stuff to start the day, I have other things I need to do. I'm working with my stepdad's business to do some professional custom software solutions for their stuff. So I'm going to have to hop sooner than later. But what I did want to do was talk about a question we got. And I love this, the honesty, and this is so important. So the question is, if you had to start over today with the strat and building good habits, what's your main focus? What would it be? Because I'm going to be honest and vulnerable here. I have not been profitable for years, and I clearly don't hate losing enough, because I keep making the typical mistakes over and over. Being suffering slowly and quietly, I'm tired of it. I'm ready for a change. This is my crowd for help. Amazing. First of all, you don't have to lose millions, thousands of dollars, whatever, tens of thousands of dollars to learn how to trade, for one. So my first recommendation is, okay, it didn't work. Let's not go and risk money on things that don't work. Like, it's hard-earned money. Very important that you protect it. Because what you'll notice is every good trader doesn't lose much when they're wrong. Now, there's some like angel investors and stuff, and they might lose like 80% of their trades, and then 20% of them go, by the way, Nvidia high a day. But 20% of their trades, go like 1,000x. But that's not what we're trying to do on the grand scheme of things. Like, I don't want you to take $100,000 and then lose 80 grand and then hope the other 20 wins. What I want to see you do is focus on creating winning positions and then just holding them, because that's all trading is. Trading is, can you create a winning trade? And then can you hold it as long as possible while it's still winning? That's it. And that's what the strat was designed to do. So learning the 3 universal truths and actually fully grasping what they're showing you is very important, because the truth will set you free from your biases, your opinions, your beliefs. Like, oh, it might come back, right? Like, you buy it and it goes against you. It's like, oh, it might come back. And then that's how you lose, right? It's like, it might come back. None of that. We don't want any of that. We want to focus on creating winning positions and understanding the 3 universal truths and using tight stops, very tight stops when you're learning this, and very small size. So to give you the short rundown, focus on one setup, right? Like, what's a setup we look for? We look for the 2-2-2, right? It's a 2-2 reversal where it goes up, then down, then up. It's like, why do we look for that? Because it's a broadening formation that creates a winning position. Because we know price goes up, then down, then up. So the 2-2-2 lets us find that. Another one we could focus on specifically would be the 3-1-2, right? It's a broadening formation, so it goes down, then up, then a consolidation, then a breakout. Focusing on one of these, either the 2-2, /2-2-2, or the 3-1-2, just one of them. Just focus on one of them, because there's already too much. A lot of traders, they understand parts of the strat, and they're like, oh, this is easy, okay. They go in and take a million trades, but then they let the losers go against them. We are not doing that at all. What we want to do is, if we know, let's say we're trading the 2-2 reversal. If we know we're doing that, the best one, we have to know what our best trade looks like, because there's a goal. Like, what's your goal? Make a winning position you can keep holding to make more money. That's the whole goal. Make a winning trade and hold it. So the best trade looks like 2, boom, explodes. Our analysis was correct. The buyer showed up. The shorts are screwed. That's what we're doing right here. The best trade also does not come back to our entry. We buy the break and it never comes back to our trade. The next thing it does is there might be slight red, and then it continues right here, and then it goes boom, and it keeps going and closes higher. And then they do that again, right? This is what we're looking for. So if we understand that's what we're looking for, we also understand why we shouldn't hold the loser. Because what does the worst one look like? Well, the worst one would look like this. Sets up your 2-2 reversal. It breaks by a penny and then goes boom, 3, 2, 2, destroyed. So how do we defend against that truth? Like, this happens in price all the time. It works and it fails all the time. Our stop, especially if we're using a hammer, our stop, it might be this wide. Literally like just right here. Which it comes out to like, 30, 40 cents. So if our goal is create winning positions and hold them, you can switch to trading shares. You don't have to trade options. You can still make a ton of money trading shares. Like, we just saw CAR go from like $20 to 700 back to 200 in weeks. That happens all the time on the really highly volatile names, and you can trade shares on those. So our game plan is we want to trade 2-2 reversals and hold the winner. Like, if we catch it and it does this, that's the one we hold. If we trade it and then it starts going against us, that's the one we get out of right away. The other thing is, since we know this is what the winner looks like, how can we get more on our winners? Because when you win, you want to press it. Like, if you're winning, let's say 50% of the time, 30% of the time, it doesn't need to be a high win rate. It could be 25% of the time. The only way you're going to make more money is if you press the winners. So it looks like this. So we find our setup, right? We have the hammer, and we'll talk about the higher time frames in a second. But we have our hammer setup, or our 2-2 reversal setup. We buy the break. It works. Right? It closes here. Now, if we're going to add to it, what would it look like? Well, it might go slightly red first, and then when it breaks this and becomes 2 again, add. That's an add. And then so we can get entry, add, and every time this closes up at the highs, we can keep adding to it, right? So this is one way to do it. Another way that I would recommend is using a lower time frame, but we're not there yet. I just want you to understand what a winner does, what it looks like. So when we go to Nvidia, you can see exactly why we're looking at this. It's really green on the day, and we told you guys, anyone short yesterday, anyone stopped out yesterday, they're going to have to get back in if Nvidia is getting to the highs, and it is. It's going to all-time highs. We also had this inside 30, so this was not a 2-2 reversal setup, but you can see exactly what happened. Traders will call these fair value gaps, but in reality, it's just aggressive buying. Nothing more, nothing less. But look at this, closes way up there. So what's happening? That monthly buyer came in right on the first hour of the day, first 30 of the day. Then it consolidated. And then you'll see this. So they go up, they close to the highs on the 60. The next 60 opens, breaks above those highs, goes even further. So this buy order started yesterday, followed through today, still following through right now. This is what we're looking for. We don't have to be the first one, right? If we didn't get it here, that's okay. But we have to know this happens. Like the best trades, if we go to the weekly Nvidia, right? This is the 2-2. 2 down in green, right there, 177.49. You buy it, you wait all week, and then it closes up there. Okay, that's the winner. How do you know? Well, if you bought it at 177 and it closed at 190, that's a pretty good trade, right? That's a winner. Then the next week opens, it goes slight gap down and it's green. Anytime this week is green, you can find ads. You can add to it. Now you have 2 weeks that it's winning. And then the next week opens, it goes continuation and it's green. Anytime that's true, you can do what we did today. Try and get more. And it's still winning. So this trade is still good. It's up 18%. We have to be able to hold winners. If you can't hold winners, you will never win. You won't, like just imagine. I'm not appealing to God here, but what I am saying is imagine God exists, okay? And imagine he wants to give you huge winning trades. But every time he gives you one, you're like, all right, time to get out. It's like, why are you getting out? Well, it went up too fast. Are you serious? That's your excuse? It went up too fast? That's why you're getting out? It's the worst excuse in the world. It's like, oh, it's working too well for me to hold this. Like, you're making yourself lose if that's what you're doing. And most traders are doing that. You'll see it. I see all the time these ICT traders. There's some really good ones. I'm not shitting on them. There's some really good ones. But I see them. They enter and then it goes and then they reduce half. And then it goes further, they reduce a quarter. And then it gets to the highs and they're like, see, look, my target got hit. I just took out my last contract right at the highs. And then it keeps going. It's like, wouldn't it make more sense to get in and then add and then your target gets hit? And if it blows through your target, keeps going, just hold it? Because that's how you're actually going to make a ton of money when you're right. And not everyone's right 80% of the time when you're trying to trade and make a lot of money. Normally it's like 45, 50%. And if you're really good, 65, 70 with big RRs, that can happen. But we don't necessitate having a huge win rate because we want to add and we want to hold the winners. My Alexa just started going off. Now, to the point of the universal truths. How do you know when Nvidia is going to do that? Right? Like, why does it do that? That doesn't make much sense if you don't understand what's going on. Well, each time frame is showing you a group of traders. So the month is green. That's like an investor group. Imagine someone who's like, I need to buy 1 million shares today and then tomorrow and then the next day and the next day. And I'm going to do that all month. And I might do it all next month too. And I might do it the next month. Like that's what the big monthly group is. So if you want to move that is like a monthly move, you need the monthly group, period. Like, it's like, oh, I shorted Nvidia at 209 on the daily chart and it dropped 15%. It's like, why did that happen? The monthly seller sold all month. That's why it happened, period. So we have to look at 4 time frames. A lot of traders I see that are swing trading, they're like, yeah, I'm swing trading and it's not working. And then we go and look and it's like, hey, so what are you swing trading? It's like, well, I'm trading this inside month and I'm trading this inside month and I'm trading this inside month. And it's like, do you even understand what the month is showing you? It's showing you it's consolidating this month and you're expecting it to move for the next 3 weeks to the upside during a consolidation. Are you out of your mind? Like, that's not what we're doing. We're trying to find the quarterly, yearly, monthly signals where things trade all month. They trade all quarter in the same direction. So when we go to Nvidia on the quarter, why is it going up so much? Well, they sold last quarter 2 down. Now they're buying this quarter. The second it goes above 176, that's when that quarterly buyer showed up. And we have 2 months and 7 days left for them to buy this thing. It's like, yeah, that makes sense now. That's why it's going up so much. So if that's how it works, what do we need to do if we're going to make big winning trades? We need to use, at least the monthly, if not quarterly and yearly charts, add those in. Quarterly, yearly, monthly, weekly, daily, 60-minute. Those would be the major time frames we want to look at. At minimum, month, week, day, 60. And then how are we going to do it? Well, when you're setting up a process, you want to find something you like to trade, right? Like if it's the 2-2 reversal, the 3-1 reversal, or 3-1-2, I mean. If it's like, I just like broadening formations, I want to buy it at the bottom of the broadening formation, go the other way. You can do any of that, but you have to pick. So for example, let's go to S&PS. This would be an example of a 2-2 reversal. So what are they doing this quarter, S&PS, above 403.30? Buying. So notice how Thursday they sold, but the week, if we look at this week open, the week was still green, but they sold Thursday. So the quarter's still green, but they sold Thursday. The month is still a 2 down, 2 up, and they sold Thursday. Who's wrong? Well, on Friday, either it's going to reverse or it's going to continue. If it reverses like it did at the open here, who's wrong? Anyone that sold Thursday is incorrect because they're buying today, they're buying this week, they're buying this month and this quarter. And if we go to the year, now they're buying this year. So who's wrong? Whoever sold Thursday. This is how we create a winning trade. And then since you have your 2-2 reversal and they're buying this month and this week and today, you have no reason to believe that shouldn't work for number 1 right at the open on Friday. And for 2, if they're buying this month and this quarter and this year, guess what? 2027 isn't for another, 7 months. So you could hold this thing potentially 7 months because you have all year. So by using multiple time frames, we can see it's like, oh, the daily guys sold Thursday, but the quarterly, monthly, weekly guys, technically they might still be buying. Come Friday morning, oh, weekly guys, monthly guys, quarterly guys, you're still buying. Hey, anyone who shorted Thursday, guess what? You got to get the frick out of this thing. And then it goes flying instantly. So if we know this is true, then what should we do? Every time frame allows you to do this. So like on Nvidia, we showed you on like an inside 30, an inside 15 minute, even a 5 minute, but you don't have to be that guy. You can be 60 minute, daily, weekly, monthly guy. Doesn't matter what time frame you choose. It depends fully on, and by the way, let's see. So you can see here, they bought high a day Nvidia. Now we have some losers that might start forcing some profit taking. So FYI, defend your winning positions. Don't let them go red. But let me flesh this out now. You have to choose which guy you're going to be. Because if we go back here, if this is what our winning trade looks like, is this a weekly time frame? Is this a monthly time frame? Is this a daily time frame? Which time frame are you doing? Because you have to have a time frame where it's like you buy it, hold, or add, get more, right? Now, ideally, this is what every time frame would look like when you're trading it. So if we go to Nvidia, this is the weekly group. Bottom of the broadening formation, 2-2 reversal, entry, add, still good. Now, if you're not a weekly guy, if you're doing different things every month instead of every week, 2 down, 2 up this month, buy, hold. And that's it. That was it. Like, doesn't get much simpler than that, right? But the same thing is working on everything else. So if we go to semis ETF, 2 down, bottom of the broadening formation, making new lows, 2 up, buy, hold. If we go to the 5 minute, is it the same exact thing? 2 down, hammer, lower lows here. 2 up, buy, add or hold, reduce and exit. And then 3, 2, 2, get back in, right? If that kicks in a minute and 50 seconds, it's already trying to kick in right now before it reverses. It's like, get back in again, buy, hold, and then exit. And you're just doing that. That's all you're doing. You have to choose the time frame you're going to use, though. And then the last part is evidence. How do you become certain? Like, why were we like, yeah, Charter's a short, Nvidia's a buy? How did we know that? It has to do with evidence. And the evidence, of course, is the multiple time frames. It's like they're buying this month, they're buying this week, they're buying today. And then right now on the 5 minute semis, they're buying right now. Whoever's shorting on the 5 minute basis has no idea the quarterly, yearly, monthly, yearly buyer is buying right now. It's like, or else they wouldn't be shorting and they wouldn't be taking profit. So we can blow out their shorts, right? And like, that's what's happening. That is one piece of evidence. But when you want to bring your evidence from like high evidence, like, hey, they're buying right now, to this for sure has to work, it has to go up, there's nothing you can do about it, there's one way to do it. And it has to do with how the participation groups stack upon each other. So think of it this way. If we're looking at Nvidia, right? And let's say Nvidia, the weekly chart looks like this. So we're looking at Nvidia and we have this potential reversal setup. It's a weekly group. It is a group of traders that lasts 1 week. So the new week opens, you have one group of weekly traders. On Nvidia, that might be like a couple $100 million being transacted, okay? Now, that's one little group. Like if you picture the whole US stock market, it's one little piece of the pie, okay? So how much evidence do you have? It's like, well, I have like 1%, I don't even know how much percent. Let's just say like I have a 1/3% of the US stock market backing my trade right now. The weekly group. It's one group, small group. Now, if this is Nvidia, what if the semis ETF sets up the same thing and the semis, the whole sector breaks? It's like, well, now this like little piece of the market, obviously Nvidia is a big stock, but I'm just trying to paint the picture here. This little piece of the market is moving with this other little piece of the market. So if you add these together, 1 + 1 is 2. So now you have double the amount of evidence. that Nvidia is going up because semis is also going up. Now, if you add more, it's like, well, what else can we watch? It's like, well, what about AVGO, right? It's like when AVGO breaks now, we have triple the amount of evidence. Do you see what's going on? So the more stocks you watch that are correlated, the bigger and the more evidence you have for your trade. Because instead of tracking one little itty bitty group for your trade, you are tracking a giant group of billions of dollars going in your favor. So when we go to, by the way, semis, they did not go reversal. So they tried, but they did not. We go back to Nvidia. Like we showed you, right when that 30 is changing, that is when you're defending. If you're going to reduce it at all, that's where you do it. And if you're not, yesterday's highs would still be, 203.89. That's the level to defend from. And I've got my stops in, so I think I'm still in it. Let me just double check here before we keep going, because I'm going to show you in just 1 second. Yeah, Nvidia call options, they haven't even really budged. I'm good. All right. But so since we're tracking groups, and I really need you guys to understand this. It's like the difference between looking at one bar on the chart or stacking a group that looks like this, where every single one of these is a correlated asset and they all look like this on the exact same bar. It's like, now this is one gigantic bar, right? If you could just picture, let me separate it. If you mushed all of these bars together, right? So like, let's say this is Nvidia's weekly chart, and then AMD, and then SMCI, and AVGO, and LRCX, and AMAT, and blah, 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 blah. All the holdings in the sector. If you mush all of those together, guess what? They're buying the whole sector at the same time. So you can push them all together and say, this is one gigantic institutional group. Because they're not just buying Nvidia, they're not just buying, QQQ, they're buying the whole sector, and they're doing it this week. That's an institutional group. So you can summarize it in one bar. You can say institutional group. So how do you pick up on that? Well, it would look like this. And I'll show you, because I made a very beautiful Because not only did we pick up on this, but we told you to go buy all the semis when that exact thing happened. So I just want to show you that. If you haven't seen it on my Twitter. Interesting, it's not popping up. Why is it showing me things from 2025? Did I mistype something? Yeah, right here. That would be a really strong signal. This is what we said before this historic rally kicked off. And we do this on our weekend vid. So this is what happened. Okay, so what's the first thing that happened? Well, you can't reverse without a strat reversal. It's impossible. Price literally can't reverse without a 2-2 or a 3 or an inside bar. So when we look at this, SPY was going down, but it's green. Q's going down, but it's green. IWM going down, but it's green. Technology sector going down, but it's green. Semis going down, but it's green. So what are they about to do next week? 2 down, 2 up reversal. That's something we look for. We just talked about it. So now, right on Monday, boom, 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 everything reversed. The whole market's going to all-time highs. That's what it shows you. Because if you put these groups together, this is millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. This is a institutional group. It has to be. The only way you reverse the whole market is if you have a lot of money to buy the stock. It's the only way it happens. And then Tuesday happens. Guess what? They're all still above their triggers. Tuesday. And then Wednesday happens. Gap up. Boom. Did you know? Did you know? You did. And now, guess what? This is the winner. This is what it looks like. Everything just took off. Anyone short in quarter one, demolished. And it's going to all-time highs because anyone short in here has got to cover. So watch this. The next week opens, they're still buying, still good, add. You have no reason not to add. Look at, it's for sure. They're all going up. It has to work. The only way you could have changed this, is if the next week opened and went red and then took out the lows of the previous week. That'd be the only way price could have reversed. It was nowhere near doing that. So not only could you buy semis and tech and SPY and Qs and IWM, you can go and buy their holdings, which would include Nvidia on the weekly, right there. It would include AVGO on the weekly right here, 315.15. It would include MU on the weekly with the hammer actionable signal here at 377. And it's still good. You have no reason to get out. It would include AMD right here on the weekly. And this was actually stronger because it didn't take last month's lows first. And you can see it was stronger and it went 60%. So yes, indeed, that was true. What about Intel? 3, it was also stronger. And that's up 70%. And even if you missed it, it's like, oh, it went without me. It's like, still good. Go and get in there. We have the rest of the quarter, the rest of the month to go take all-time highs out. And that's exactly what happened today. So by understanding evidence and participation groups, we can time our entries using reversals. And we can identify institutional participation to bring our trade ideas from probable to certain. And once they are certain, it's a matter of hold the winner and say, thanks, God. Please just let it go up another 2 months in a row. And I'm done for the year. And that's it. And this happens all the time, every month, every quarter, every day, every hour. You can have these simultaneous breaks occurring. It is simply a matter of waiting for them to happen. Because not only did we nail this one this year with what I just showed you from our weekend vid, we did the same thing last year. Look at what happened last year and tell me if this looks the same. Look at SPY. Hammer, 2-2 reversal on the month, and then right all the way back up here. 280-day move. You could have bought it here and just went away. And how much institutional evidence did you have? Well, Qs, hammer, 2-2 month, tech, all the way back up there. Dow Jones, what about that? Hammer, 2-2 month Dow Jones, all the way up here until this shooter kicked in the other way. And now they're buying it again this month. So you could still be holding that. What about IWM? Hammer, all the way up. What about semis? Hammer, it's up 133%. What about technologies? Hammer, it's the same thing. Lower lows, hammer, all the way back up. Lower lows, 2-2, it's not quite a hammer, but it was close, all the way back up. It's the same thing over and over. Look at the week. Lower lows, hammer, all the way back up. So if you can just nail that, if you can just do that, you can pick whatever time frame you want, but you look at the indexes and the sectors, and then you can go to the holdings. Or you can just say, screw the holdings. I'm just going to do indexes and sectors because it's easier. And that's really it. Hold the winners, cut the losers, identify evidence to bring your trades from probable to certain. And that's the answer. Fumbled Nvidia today. That's okay. I mean, I tried to tell you. New hour opens, reconfirms. What does that tell you? That buyer's still buying Nvidia, and it's still not at all-time highs yet. 212.19, it's trading 209.76. So tell it to go up there. Nvidia back to the highs. Wow. Yeah, I still have my full position. I have not reduced. I've only defended my position by moving stops towards price. I'm up about $2,000, 171% on next week call options Nvidia. I really wish I nailed charter at the open. I was just, doing my job for you guys, so I did not get to trade it myself. But man, $222 to 185. That's a 40-point move. I bet those options are down or up like 400% or more. Right? Like those 200 puts. Oh my goodness. I don't even want to look at them. You guys can do the calculations if you want in the chat. But if we go back to Charter, if we go to the Fiver, remember Charter here, we told you you could short it there, and 195, down $10. So you didn't even have to be the first one. You just wait. They're selling. It goes up a little bit. Hey, are you still selling today? Yep. Oh, I missed that one. All right, let him go up. Hey, is the day still red? Yep. All right, still selling. All the way down. Are they still selling? Yep, goes up. Inside signal shooter, or actually, no, that was a 2-2. Right back in there. Destruction. Whole market up, Charter not, get destroyed. Destroyed. I needed this class today, thank you. Well, hey, we do this every day of the week. All week, all year, every month, every quarter. Get Nvidia, get. Tell it to get. Gained so much knowledge in this live. Then I started trading a year back. Awesome. I just want to share with you what I know is true about price action. That's it. If it's not true, I will do my best to not say it out loud. Because there's so much false information that can't actually be supported by anything. So maybe not false, but irrefutable information, which is pretty much as good as not true. You just call it a phenomena. You would not call it an actual truth about how things work. And the truth sets you free. Free indeed. That being said, guys, I've got about 20 minutes to sit with you and just chat. So if you have anything you want to discuss, now's the time. Outside of that, really, I'm good. I wanted to come in here and I wanted to afford all those freaking tires I bought on my Tesla yesterday. I'm so mad about it. But I'm happy we were able to get a nice one this morning. You guys can do this. If you're struggling, I understand. You're not going to get it instantly, but if you focus and you trade small enough where you can let the winner run and not like freak out when you win, just hold it. Like you can hold this Nvidia for probably the next 3 months if it just keeps going. Like, that's all trading is. So you get it and it never comes back. That's a good trade. Position sizing, small and then add. Because this is the way it works. When you catch a winner, it's like we look at Nvidia. It's always about evidence. It's never like, is this a good trade or a bad trade? If it's reversing, it's always how much evidence do you actually have? So Nvidia down here on Tuesday, when that kicks in above 170, if you can get it anywhere in there, you can buy one share, okay? Or you can buy one option contract. You don't have to nail the bottom with a full size. That's not correct. Because if you nail the bottom with full size and you get stopped out, you're less likely to get back in. But if you hit the bottom with one share, one contract, very, very small, like literally like, oh, if this doesn't work, whatever, like move on to the next, then you get stopped out. You can get right back in because you're like, I only lost $2. Let me just get back in. Then it might stop you out again. I lost another $2. All right, let me just get back in. Because eventually the broadening formations kick in, right? Like this kicks in, it goes all the way to the other side of the range. This will happen eventually on any broadening formation, especially if you have the month green back through this range. So, the beginning of the month, when that starts kicking in April, you get one share, and then it gaps down Thursday and goes green, get some more shares and move your stop to the low of Thursday, if that works, and it did. And then you'll see you get a gap down Tuesday. Once that starts flipping green, get some more. And then it gaps up. We don't want to buy on a gap up, preferably. Like we said today on semis, like if we go to Intel, this is why we don't like buying a gap up. Like we want it to drop and then let's go for it. So let's go back to Nvidia. Gaps up, you just hold it. It's like it's nowhere near coming back to my entries. I'm just going to stick around. And if you want, you can draw the broadening formation out like this. You can say this is where it is right now. Then you get inside bar. You don't have to trade that. The next day opens, when that breaks up, get more. Then it goes inside bar again, hold. Or you could play the gap down buy intraday, but inside day, hold. And then this breaks at the open. It's going to be trickier to get that, but you could get more. Then it goes up here, inside bar, you could get more. And then if it reverses, you can reduce to defend. And then what we're looking for is this. It's nowhere near, like look at this action, right? If we draw the monthly open, this is the monthly open. Is this outside day broadening formation going to take that out? It's nowhere near doing that. So once they triangle they out, once you get these slight lower lows and you stop out people who've been buying this at the highs, chasing it, those guys come and get back in the next day when this firms up. So if it stops you out or you reduce some, the next day opens, it goes green here. That's telling you, hey, they just got stopped out. People just got short yesterday. Now's the time where things should kick in. And then it does. And you can add even more. So you don't have to be full size on the first entry. You just have to understand where you're timing them. The ideal trade, and this is probably the last thing we can cover here today, but the ideal trade is this. You get a broadening formation, it's going to start small. It starts really small here. And then what happens is it gets bigger and you get a signal at the bottom. This will be the first way you want to get in. It's like, boom, it works. All right, we're in. And then it continues. All right. If it comes back, just stop out of your ad. You still have this entry from down here. You're good. And then you get that slightly red bar. If it reverses, now you have a little bit of issues, right? But if it hasn't came back, it's still trying to go up, down, and then back up. So once it starts going green and reversing back up, you can get in again or add more to it. And as long as that keeps confirming, right, you're going to go take this out. So you don't have to nail the bottom with a huge entry, which means you can take more than one trade and you don't have to be scared to enter things. Now, once it hits the other side of the broadening formation, we have no idea what price is. We have no idea. All we know is either it's going to keep going and it's going to broaden because that's what they do, like this, or it's going to come back in and go completely to the other side and get bigger again. So what we're doing is we're battling. Like when you go to broadening formations, I just want you guys to see this. I'm not sure if it's going to come up. It can create, seek, and destroy conditions. Do not trade. So what they're saying is broadening formation, don't trade it. And then everyone in ICT, what they'll say, how to identify seek and destroy conditions so you don't trade it. That's what everyone says. Decided not to trade today. I assumed we'd have a seek and destroy condition. So what are they saying? The range is broadening, and I don't know how that works because I don't know how price works. Therefore, I'm not going to trade. Now, obviously, these ranges can get small, but the thing is this isn't just happening on a 15-minute chart when there's no non-farm payroll news coming out. This is happening on every time frame all the time. It's the only thing price does. So if you're scared to trade this, you have no idea how price works, because they will say seek and destroy is low probability conditions. And then they'll open up a chart that looks just like this on a 15-minute basis. And they'll say, see, look, it's low probability. It keeps making lower lows and then it makes higher highs and then it makes lower lows and then it makes higher highs. It's low probability. It's like, are you sure about that? Because every time it makes a higher high, it goes to the other side. And then once it makes the low and it shows you should buy it, it goes to the other side. And then when it breaks out, it goes flying. It's like, are you sure that's low probability? I think that's the highest probability thing that price always does all the time, is it takes out both sides of a range. So when you're trading broadening formations, you have to realize people are terrified of broadening formations, and that's why they work. Because it goes up here and everyone's like, I want to buy Nvidia. It's going to go break out. And then it goes, it takes everyone out. And they're like, oh my goodness, I was wrong. Takes out all their stops. And then everyone's like, wow, look at Nvidia is turning over. The AI bubble is going to pop. And then it kicks back into the range. It's like, oh my goodness, I totally missed it. It's like, yeah, you missed it. It's made new highs and new lows like 10 times. And people are terrified of that because they don't understand you can just buy the low and sell the high. So you want to time the broadening formation with what we've shown you today. Because when you time all those groups buying and it's occurring back through a broadening range, it's for sure going to the other side. So tight stops. To give you the best framing for this, you just have to understand. So if we have, let's say we have a 2-2 reversal, this is what we want to see it do, okay? So the length of this bar, the amount of time it has, tells you how long you have for it to happen. This level, the previous bar is high. If you're above that, it shows you you're going to go to take out this level. So if it's above this level, it's going up there to this level. If it's below this level, it's not. So it's either true or it's false. Therefore, the wider your stop is, the more you're going to lose when it's false. Which means if it's not above that level, you could put your stop, some people use the midpoint of this, they'll use the low of this bar. We would prefer entry, tight stop. Because if this is going to happen, let's say this is a daily time frame. If this is going to happen today, price has to be above this. So if we buy it and then it goes back below that level, it's not working. It has to be above it to happen. The same way Nvidia, if that was going to explode today, we told you it has to take yesterday's highs. How are you going to do that? Inside 30 signal to cause yesterday's highs to break. That's exactly what the trade was. So what we want to do is we want to use a lower signal or smaller time frame group to trigger a bigger group. In our case, the 30-minute inside bar signal, which is the 30-minute group, to trigger the daily group into the month and quarter, year and week groups. So you want your stop, you don't want it wide. You want to have it tight because our signals are designed to go instantaneously. Like when I say instant, I mean it takes yesterday's highs and Nvidia's like this. Do you see what happened here? Up, 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 inside 1 minute, never comes back. This is what it's designed to do. And if you want to understand more about how that is supposed to work and why these signals are made to go instantaneously, you can go and check out a video I made. It's called The Tightest Stop or something. It was recently, it was PDT rule just changed. It was this one right here. Small account traders can now use penny stops. This changes everything. This is exactly the video you should go watch on my channel if you want to understand why things are supposed to go instantaneously. More so intraday, of course, just because, a monthly signal, it might not go instantly. It might take a couple days to kick in. But intraday, this is made to go instantly. So what we want to do is if you find a weekly signal and you find that simultaneously setting up on the semis and then its holdings and the indexes all at the same time, when you identify that, what you can do is you can use a 15-minute, 5-minute, and you can go in there and all right, reversal, let me see if this goes instantly. And you can do that as many times as you have to get in it. Once you get it and it never comes back, you're in. And this is how we're going to not lose. You don't have to lose $1 million to learn how to do this. You can lose 10 cents every time you're wrong and practice 1,000 trades every week. And by the end of the week, you've traded more than any ICT traders traded their whole lifetime because you can lose 10 cents when you're wrong and you can analyze the charts and you can spend the screen time learning how price actually works with if you get a $2,000 account and they get this PDT rule thing finally, changed in the brokers, you can trade a $2,000 account and lose 10 cents every time you're wrong and take 1 million trades every year and have way more experience as to how to execute and what happens when the signals work and when they don't. And since at the end of the day, this is all patterns, you're looking at, I don't want to say patterns, but it's all conditions. It's scenario 1, scenario 2, scenario 3. You will see over time what happens when a scenario 1 becomes a 2 and when a 2 becomes a 3. And you'll get really good at understanding what's going on. And the only way you can do that is if you practice with tight stops and stop being scared to trade. If you're going to be a trader, you shouldn't be scared to trade Monday. You shouldn't be scared to stop out a few times. You shouldn't be scared to I took 10 trades and, they stopped me out. I lost $5 today. We shouldn't be scared of that because when it works, it really works. And the more time you spend looking at the charts, the better you're going to see this happening. And it all really comes back to what I already showed you with the simultaneous break. All of the sector ETF, all of the indexes, all of them at the same time. That's what we want. And we want it back through a range of guys who are losing. Like if we go to LHX, you can see exactly what happened here. Momentum shooter. So this was a shooter signal on Friday that kicked in Monday morning. What did that do? It triggered inside week signal down, back through a range, pivot, pivot, pivot. All these guys who have stops against this, we triggered through them. What did the week do? The week caused the monthly 2 up, 2 down reversal. So we had a weekly signal and a daily signal that caused the monthly signal to kick in. Therefore, it trends the whole week because you have the weekly this week and the monthly this month. You have no reason to believe it shouldn't go most of the week if you're right. So by using the multiple time frames and aligning this was a simultaneous break, just like we explained over here, right? Like where you have, a million groups all doing the same thing in the same sector as one big group like this. LHX, this is a defense stock. So what do we go to? If you go to ITA, the aerospace and defense ETF, what did that do? 2 up, 2 down reversal week. Boom. Destroyed. How did that happen? Friday, 2 up, Monday, 2 down reversal. It didn't go instantly, but it did reverse. And then it continue. There's your big winner. And then you go to GE. 2 up Friday, 2 down Monday, 2 down, 1, 2 up. So this one did not follow through. But you had the 2-2 week in here as well. What if we go to Lockheed Martin? When defense sector reversed this week, Lockheed Martin was going down last week already. So if Lockheed Martin was going down last week, and it's a defense name, and all of the defense sector just reversed this week, guess what? This is the leader to the downside. This has to be the weakest one because it was already going down. So it drops 14% continuation. If we go to NOC, it was already going down with Lockheed Martin. So guess what? Defense sector reverses this week, 14% in 1 week. Nice fair value gap you got there. Right? You can keep going down the list. GD, it was already going down last week in the defense sector. This week, boom, destroyed. Why did that happen? They went and they told their algorithms, sell defense sector, sell all of them, do it this week. And why are we doing it? Well, we started selling Lockheed Martin last week, and it looks like whatever we thought about Lockheed Martin's true about all of them. And then the earnings come out and it was true, destroyed. So that is that. But aligning those groups is the biggest, most important thing you can do to go into certainty. You want to be certain. You don't want to have to guess. With futures, the thing with futures is you don't have the evidence that we have. We shorted defense sectors at the beginning of the week. We shorted Pfizer, and then we bought semis and tech and all that stuff because it was stronger. And not just semis, but we also spent some time in the cybersecurities earlier in the week. So we're able to get way more trades. And there is obviously different tax advantages to futures, but I would rather have certainty than save a little bit on taxes. It's just easier. That being said, though, the signal is working. It's literally, it's the 4 time frames, month, week, day 60. That's how you know. It's like, is the monthly buyer buying this week? If the week's green, yes. Is that weekly buyer buying today? If the day is green, yes. And is that daily buyer buying right now? If the 60 is green, yes. When they all align, you have no reason to believe price is going down. It has to be going up. So when you align all 4 of those, you have every reason to believe price is going up because it is. And then you do that on 1 time frame across correlated assets. So it's like, if you're looking at Nvidia and it's about to reverse, you go look at the semis ETF and you look at the technology and the QQQ and you look at the same time frame on those and you say, are those already going up? If so, we have evidence to believe this should work. And then if you look at the holdings, it's like, how much of the holdings are going up? So if we go to sectors, like, is technology a buy this month? Let's find out. 57% are going up this month. 80% are going up this week. 70% are going up right now. So guess what? The yearly buyer that started in quarter one is here this month and this week and right now in technology, which includes semiconductors. So yeah, it's going up today and right now. That matters. So we go to the 60, no reason to sell tech today, right? 70% are going up. That has to be institutional buying going on in tech. So when you do it, you're looking at the same time frame across many assets that are correlated. And when you look at one asset, you need at least 4 time frames, month, week, day, 60. So the same time frame across correlated assets identifies the simultaneous reversals, the simultaneous breaks, and then using 4 time frames shows you on one asset how much evidence you have it's going up or down. And that's kind of the gist. That being said, though, that's all I've got for you guys today. If we go to Nvidia, still at high day, so you do not have to get out. What I would say though is, they came in, they bought. You go to the 60-minute. This is what we call exhaustion risk. It's like it's going up, right? And we want to see all-time highs, but you might have to stop some people out first. So where would they stop people out? Well, everyone's has their stop right here, right around 208. So if everyone's got their stops at 208, we might take that out first as a broadening formation and then go the other way. And that's what we'd want to look for. That's all I've got for you guys today, though. So I hope you enjoyed the stream. And if you're hopping on for the first time and finding us for the first time, you can check us out at stratalerts.ai. The scanner that you see me using, it is available there. If you want a discount, you can just reach out to me and I should be able to help you out there. And we also do have a community where we do streams like this every day, but they're a little bit more like less discussion and teaching. And we try to focus really hard on like, where are things moving? Where should we be trading? We do that every day. And if you look at my YouTube, Alex's Options, every month, every quarter, every week, every day, I try to post a video to summarize what's going on in the market for you guys and give you the setups we're looking at for tomorrow. So you can check us out there, check out our community. And if you don't have the money, we also have Start Here for free, where you can get into our free side of the Discord. And we do streams like this, of course, every Friday. So join us there. That's all I've got, though. I'll see you guys next week. Have a great rest of your weekend and adios.